England against Spain, live next Monday night on ITV at 7:30. What a lineup that is. And remember, with the action, we shall again be getting the views over the next 5 days of Brian Clough, of Jimmy Greaves, of John Bond, Mike Shannon, George Best and Ian St John. So there's an awful lot to look forward to. But now what about England last night? John Bond and Mike Shannon in our studio both said how disappointed they were by England's lack of adventure. It was certainly a good point to get against the West Germans, but I believe the feeling of most people today is that it may have been achieved without great style. Jack Charlton went to the England Hotel today and confronted manager Greenwood and coach Don Howe with this feeling of disappointment.
It's all right sat up and journalists talking about it the day after. It's still got to be done. You know as well as I do. You play league football every week.
It's funny how people never said that before the game. The Germans were there for the
Well, no, because you didn't know what they were playing on.
Jack, they play five in midfield. They've dictated to us by playing five in midfield. Now, we're going to have to cope with that, whether we like it or not, because we don't want to lose the game, do we? And you don't want to lose a game when you go out.
No.
Now, you know that there's five in midfield, and we've got four in midfield. Now, we're going to either have to push a full back in to cope with the five.
Now, I wasn't meaning that, Don. I understand your problem about defence, you see, but I thought you were pretty well overprotective of your back four yesterday. I felt that Robson and Wilkins didn't move, and if they were anchored in centre midfield, then the two wide men will have the responsibility to go and play. And I didn't think that either Koppel or Rixey got up often enough, or fast enough, or quick enough, or positive enough.
I think that's a fair criticism in the first half, but they did more in the second half, because you see, we didn't know how the Germans were going to play. We knew about Reinders. We didn't know anything about Reinders really, in the sense of Bobby had seen him play, but he was an unexpected player. And Tony said he's one of them players. It's something out of nothing. So we had to be careful of the people we didn't know about a lot. So what Mickey did, Mickey pushed in a little, and Stevie had some good runs. I mean, the first run Stevie had, he crossed a great ball, the keeper just put over the back of the post. And Graham Rix and Rixey, I mean, this is what I said to the press conference today. Dear, oh dear, everybody in the world is worried about Celts getting crosses in. Celts did not get one cross in.
I agree with you.
We had to stop that happening.
But I wasn't concerned about the Germans. I was more concerned that
all right,
we
then
got
let me
crosses
finish
in.
then. Let me finish. So then we said to Kenny, look, Kenny, if Mickey's going to fit in, you've got to drop at the back and be with the back two. So there's three at the back, like the Brazilians play. And that restricted Kenny, which he said at half-time when we said to him. But in the second half, the two of them began to play like they do for the Arsenal, rotating round and create a few problems down that left-hand side. Rix and Kenny Sansom got forward more on that left-hand side, and that's what you're after. But you've still got to be careful. In a game like that, you know as well as I do. You've played at that level. You just can't be carte blanche and say, well, we're going to attack them.
No.
It's a case of perhaps we overdid the long ball at times, and if you overdo the long ball, the midfield players can't arrive, can they? Because the ball's gone before they can get there. The build-up has to be a little bit short, and then perhaps the ball's played into the corner of the pitch. The old story. You're dependent on the player's interpretation out there.
But like Don says, Jack, if you start hitting two longer balls, that's very difficult in that heat. I mean, we're not talking about games back home on a cold winter's night or a Saturday afternoon. We're talking about bloody Madrid up in the 90s.
I agree.
And to work up and down and get there, and if you hit two longer balls, like Don says, the midfield can't get there. And bearing in mind, with all due respect, as I said to the press this morning, Brian wasn't 100%, and Brian covers ground more easily than he did last night. That was not a bonus for us, but it was a disadvantage.
I just felt we have an advantage. The way you fed Paul Mariner wide on everything. In other words, he's fed away from the ball. When the ball goes right, he feeds the opposite direction. And yet you've never used him properly there. I got sick of watching Mick Mills feed balls into people's feet when Mariner had gone wide at the far post, where he wasn't going to be supported by Francis, because Francis is coming short here. The balls that were going to get knocked, Francis should have been feeding off him, not towards the ball. And I just felt that, having watched one of your practices the other day, that this is really what you were after.
Yes. Oh, yes.
We were, but then you know as well as I do, you practice all week, and as Don said, it's their interpretation when they get out there. I tell you what, you're becoming a good TV man.
Well, no, but is this a direct result?
No, hey, you're not a football manager anymore.
No, but is this a direct result of you having...
We're having a go at you now.
I know, well, I know.
Lovely.
Is this not a direct result of having to go back to a basic English 4-4-2 pattern rather than answer me a question. Would you rather have stayed with the Brookings system?
Probably if Trevor had been fit, Trevor would have been there all the time, and we may...
Not at all.
We don't know.
How do you think we played against France in the second half?
I know how you played against
France. Come on, tell me.
You brought Rixey back on the left-hand side.
And did we shut it down and then win the game?
Still score goals?
Now, what do you say then? Well done, great talk at half-time, adjust him, great, smash it. So you give us all the plaudits. Now we're using the same system, you're saying it's wrong.
Yeah.
You can't have it that way, Jack. You cannot have it that
what
way.
I'm saying
the
is,
game is adaptable.
you did it
There's no
different.
one system
No,
wins the
there's
game.
no, I'm not saying that. I'm saying there's a difference in the system, because the man who won the game for you, and that was Robson, who was free to go.
Well, that's what we're saying.
You know,
That's
but
what we
I didn't
said.
feel he had the
You've
freedom
been
to go
a-
yesterday.
If
He
you'd
did
have played the
freedom to
Germans,
go. He
Jack,
probably
if you'd
wasn't
have-
in a situation where he had the full pelt to go forward.
If you'd have been aware of the Germans, Jack, would you have been aware of Kelsey's great crosses?
I
The best cross of the ball in the game. Jack.
100%. I understand you.
So
Don,
you're
and
gonna
I know
have
your
somebody out
problem.
there.
I know your problems.
Yeah.
Because we, like you, didn't find the team out till what, half an hour before the game.
No.
So then you've got to start
We're
basically.
dashing around, forming out the team. We're writing down, that's how they'll play, what, and here we're going round. And I tell you what, Graham Ricks and Kenny Sanson, Graham Ricks really, I mean, if you'd have seen the film that we saw on yesterday morning of Kelsey's crosses, unbelievable. And Kevin will tell you, Kevin's played with him, he's the best crosser of a ball in the business. Didn't get one in. Christ's sake, give us some credit somewhere.
I'm not taking credit away from Ron. I want to win the World Cup like you do.
We do.
You know, I want.
But I kept, as I said, Press today, all right, they may have given us some stick. If 6 months ago we'd have said we were going to hold Germany to a draw in Madrid in the second stage, they'd have all laughed at us. All we keep doing is winning and drawing and hoping to prove people wrong. We can't do any more than that. I know we go the whole way and do it.
You've got the advantage. After the game, I talked to a lot of people, and I said, well, we have now got the advantage
We're
because
in the
we now
driving
play
seat.
in the
After
last
they've
game
played.
against Spain, and we know what we've got to do. You get a chance to look at them.
Yeah.
Germany have got to be positive. Spain have got to be positive. You have got to be positive, but you know what you're going into.
Exactly, yes. We're in a nice position. But we earned that right. We earned it last night.
I agree.
It was designated that whoever drew, if we drew, we were allowed to play last. If we won, we were allowed to play last. If we'd have lost, we'd have been playing Friday night. And we might have been on the shuttle home on the 3rd of July.
Well, some really strong views expressed there, some fascinating stuff.